Hi, it's Pastor Paul L. Anderson here at the Fountain of Raleigh Fellowship, where we believe God's blessings never stop flowing. It's Satisfaction Saturday. It's the last day of the week. We're so satisfied how God has kept us in love with Him and reminding us of the great things that He's done in all of our lives. It's at the end of the week that all of us should pause and take a look back in our rearview mirror to see all the things that God has done for us, as well as set our sights to look through the windshield to see what is in front of us. Today on this day, I want you to look with me into Mark's Gospel, the 6th chapter, verses 30 through 56. A very powerful text in which we find out that, first of all, it talks about how Jesus is rejected in his hometown of Nazareth. Then we find about the miracle of the 12. And then from there, we see the death of John the Baptist, which leads us right into our text today. It is where Jesus is now returning from ministry with his disciples. They've been on a ministry tour, and he tells them all the things that they've done, and they begin to talk about all the experiences they've had and what has been taught. Then Jesus says to them, let's go off to a quiet place, a place where we can get away. That reminds us, first of all, whenever we are involved in ministry, we should give it all that we have. And then after that, follow the model of Jesus. He got with his disciples. They have some moments of reflections. They got away to a place. All of us should be at a place in our lives that we're actively engaged in doing what God has called us to do. But then we have some moments to push back, to pause. That's the reason why kids have summer recess. That's the reason why all of us should take summer vacations. That's the reason why all of us have to take some moments away from what we do so much and so regularly, so that we can just pause and kick back and just rejuvenate themselves. So Jesus says to his disciples, let's go on the other side of the lake. The text lets us see, as they began to leave to go onto the other side of the lake, there were still people following them. And so much so that the people ran around the lake, and they were already where they were planning to drop off on the ship and to drop anchor. They were already there waiting. Jesus sees this, and he notices what's going on. And he thought that he and his disciples were going to get a moment where he can have some reflection with them, but the people kept on coming. That helps us to understand that whenever we engage ourselves in doing ministry with integrity, as God has called us to do, as we're ministering to people, even in those moments where you think that there's a break, they had a brief break in the boat going from one side to the other side, there's still a great need. It reminds all of us the need is always great. We cannot do all the things that Jesus did, but we can at least come close to trying to do what he does. So now he and the disciples get to the other side. Look, the text says that there are all these people there. And so he thought they were going to a quiet place where they can have some moments of reflection so that he could talk with them. And so there were so many people that they could not believe it. The people were coming from far and near, and they continued to bring those who needed healing. They brought those who needed deliverance. And the text lets us see, he says that I see these people, they are like sheep without a shepherd. So Jesus does his part, being the great shepherd who gives his life for the sheep. He gives more of himself out to them. And there were people coming from remote places, and in so much so that Jesus is moved with compassion. Jesus notices that the people are hungry. He says to his disciples, let's feed these people. They've been with us all day. They look at Jesus. They say, we need to do a whole month's wages just to feed these people. And Jesus says, let's feed them anyway. And I love this part about it. He says, let's find out what we have. He found out they had just a few fish and a couple loaves of bread. And as Jesus looks at the fish and looks at the bread, he does something so powerful. He looks at it. He picks it up in his hand. He gives thanks. He blesses it. And now the 5 loaves of bread and the 2 fish multiply. He tells his disciples, sit the people down in companies of 50 and 100. And the text lets us see that there were nearly 5,000 men, not counting the women and children. That teaches us something so powerful. Whenever we put what little we have in the hands of Jesus, he can multiply it. Insomuch there will be enough for everybody, and there'll still be leftovers. The disciples were baffled. They saw all the miracles Jesus had done, and they said, what in the world? I've never seen this before. The fish multiplied. As they broke it, it started to increase. The bread, it started to increase. Everybody had all of what they need because Jesus was around. Whenever Jesus is around, he'll meet your every last one of your needs according to his riches and glory. All we have to do is offer a word of thanks, and he'll do what he does. He multiplies all of our efforts. May we ask God to multiply our efforts for his own will and for his own pleasure. God bless you, and I'll see you tomorrow in worship.
To sow a seed to the Fountain of Raleigh Fellowship, visit our newly redesigned website, thefountainofraleigh.org, and select Sow a Seed from the homepage. Also, giving has been made easier with the new Fountain of Raleigh app, available now in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. Download today, select Giving from the main menu, and then follow the directions to complete your giving through Subsplash.
Thank you so very much for all of your gifts and donations that you've given to the Fountain of Raleigh Fellowship. We thank you for what you've done in the past, what you're currently doing, and what you will do in the future. Your gifts and donations helps us to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ, not only locally, but throughout the world. Thank you again for your gifts, and may God continue to richly bless you. It is here at the Fountain that we believe that we are exceedingly and abundantly blessed, and may you receive those blessings that God has in store for you.